Good evening, folks, and welcome back to Wilderness Wargaming. So, my apologies, first off. I have not gotten back to normal, like I said I would this week. I just haven't been able to do it. We've had a couple problems. We had some rodents get into the house while we were on vacation. I've been busy trying to eradicate them. Had a lot of success. I got 4 of the adults, and then they probably caused, I think, another problem. I think they chewed on the wires that run the drain pump for the dishwasher because it's not draining properly. But in a way, that was a blessing in disguise because when I pulled the dishwasher out to take a look, I found a nest with babies, and I was able to get rid of the babies before they opened their eyes. I've gotten rid of most of the adults now, or I think all of the adults, actually, hopefully. So I think I can do that. I'm going to probably have to get the dishwasher pump fixed this weekend. We've also had some problems with the AC unit. Our AC unit is overworked. It's not big enough for the house. Unfortunately, we didn't realize that when we bought it. And can't really afford to replace an entire AC unit just now. Maybe in the future. But it's given me a lot of stuff around the house to do in the evenings this week, and I just have not been able to get to videos. But I do plan to get back to them this coming week. Tomorrow morning we're going to have another episode of Inquisitor Martyr out for you. And today I just want to go over a couple things real quick. So what you're looking at is a portion of the code here for my list building application. I just want to show it to you because it is actually a functional application now. And now it is not ready for prime time. It's not ready to be released because it does not have all the functions that an army list builder requires, but it does actually build an army list. So let me show it to you. So your initial UI here, which still needs a lot of cleaning up, looks like this. And I think I've showed you this before. You just pick the size you want over here. You click the faction. So we'll pick the Sisters because it's on the top and it's my favorite. And you once you load the army, it brings up your drop downs, and then you just go down and you pick who you want from there. Okay, so we'll pick out some units. So now we can build our list. So let's say we want to get in 3 Battle Sister squads because we're pretending it's 9E and we need troops. Okay, so that gives you 3. Now, notice it's totaling up the points here. These are all minimum-sized units. I do not yet have the functionality to adjust the unit size. Okay, but now we want to go back. We want to put in, say, a Dogmata. Boom, it'll pop it in the right place, up above your battle line. You want Astrid Thurga and Agatha Dolman. Yeah, we can put them in. And then we can add an Immolator, and we can add a couple Zephyrim squads. And it'll tell you, okay, you spent 720 points. Now, we've got a few other functions here. If we try to add a second to the same named character, nope, can't do that. It'll tell you have too many of them. And it works if it's something like, say, your Zephyrim. So we can add a 3rd Zephyrim squad because we love Zephyrim. Now if we add a 4th, nope, too many. Now, okay, so we figured out our problem. Let's add, so we're maxed out on our sister squad, and let's say, whoops, let's take Triumph here because that's worth quite a few points. And we will add St. Celestine, and we can, I need to put a scroll function in that one frame. Let's make it a little bigger here. And you need to adjust the size of this frame here for the full screen. Anyhow, let's see, what else can we add? Let's add another Immolator. Still some formatting stuff. Okay, now we're up to 1940. Now, let's suppose we want to add... we got 60 points left. Let's suppose we want to add now a Sisters Novitate squad. That's 90, so it's going to take over 2,000. Boom. Nope. Nope, can't do it. Well, it lets you add it, but it tells you you're over the limit. Now, I left it that way. It will warn you every time. So if we try add another Sisters, nope, it'll warn you again. You're over. Boom. Can't do it. And now, too many. Okay, it'll call it, and it'll block you after that because you can't add the 3rd one. So it won't let you exceed the limits for any given number of units. It will let you go over the points to make it a little easier. And then notice we've got these little buttons over here. Now, whoops, I clicked that a little too quickly. Okay, now see we're still over the limit here. Okay. So let's say, okay, you know what? Let's not take C. Celestine. That'll get us down to 1990, and we'll just take a 10-point enhancement. Now, right now, all 3 of the segment and button things do the same function. I haven't coded the other functions yet. But what will happen is, if you want to remove it, boom, you click remove, and it deducts the points. And we can just keep right on removing and get all the way back down to 0. So, and of course, we can also do this. Let's say we decide, I'm not playing Sisters, I'm playing Mechanicus. This is, I need to, okay, notice that the names don't initially appear, but they're all gone from the menu. So what I need to do is add a quick little update command for these 3 drop-down menus. But we can do that, and now we can add Belisarius, we can add Cybernetica. Oh, nope, too many Rangers, can't do it. And now we got our Adeptus Mechanicus instead. So we can remove. Now, of course, you can see that there's a lot not done yet. We cannot yet modify the size of the units. We cannot yet modify their war gear. We cannot add enhancements yet to our characters or select a warlord. We don't have any save or load functions up here or any of the other menu stuff. That all remains to be done. But you could, if you were using only MSU units, build an army list this way. You are very limited in what you can do. There's no allies yet. No ability to adjust unit size, of course. But the application does function to build an army list as long as it's all MSU units with no enhancements and no, no allies. So that is, I would not quite call it an alpha. We're getting close to an alpha state, though, I would say. So we're starting to see some progress. Now, there are things that I want to clean up. There have been some surprises in the way the UI function. One of the problems I discovered is buttons like this. Okay, this is just a regular clickable button, whereas if we add a unit, here, let's add Belisarius, this is what's called a segmented button, and it's much easier for some reason to pass arguments to functions with these than it is with a regular button using the custom TK-enter or regular TK-enter GUI elements in Python. I don't know why that is. I don't like it. It's greatly inconvenienced me because I was trying to do this a little bit different way. And I'm going to need to add some additional functionality to these buttons because right now these ones modify in size. If you click on the one that's already highlighted, it doesn't do anything. And I don't want to make it so people have to click on modify just to click back to size. But anyhow, we're going to have this probably out for people to start evaluating before too long. Now, another big challenge is going to be putting it into the right format for mobile devices. That I don't have the foggiest idea how that works. I am confident I can figure it out, but I've never done it before, so it will be a learning experience. But anyhow, enough about that for right now. I also want to talk real quick about the Horus Heresy Demon Engines. Okay, so this is kind of like adding insult to injury for me. You can now take those Chaos Space Marine Demon Engine models, such as, they talk about it down here, the Brass Scorpion, which of course they have links to it so you can go buy it, the Blood Slaughterer Decimator, and the Chiton, and you can put these things in Horus Heresy. Now they have rules. Well, they were a Chaos Space Marine unit, and they were unique and distinct from the regular Space Marine ones. They were not, so they've essentially been changed over to Horus Heresy. I don't know that there's Horus Heresy Terminates. I don't know anything about that. I'm not happy because now they're not tournament legal, and they've essentially become legends. They're kind of one of those things that you might or might not even want to take to the local game store because people are going to look at them a little sideways. And that just really, it makes me very annoyed. That's, you pulled them out of one army that they were really for, and they weren't dedicated Horus Heresy models. They happened to be from Forge World, but they weren't. And then put them into Horus Heresy. So, well, thanks, GW. This is the thing. Be quickly becoming the real big thing where I'm just really, really annoyed with GW. I didn't put this as the banner for the, or the thumbnail rather, for the video because I don't want to put something up there that's one of my big annoyances. But I'm very unhappy about this, and if there's one thing I want GW to rescind, change, give us back these units in 40K for Chaos Marines. I don't care if you leave them in Horus Heresy, but give us back the ones that are not distinctly for Horus Heresy. I don't need a Chaos Space Marines Leviathan, although it does look cool in Night Lord's livery. I've seen one. I don't need Relic Contemptor Dreadnoughts, but these Demon Engines that were always for... I want my 2 Decimators to be tournament legal. They were expensive, so Games Workshop fixed that. Now, next up, though, let's talk about something I'm a little bit more pleased with, and that's Sisters, because I'm always happy to talk about Sisters. We're gonna take a look here. They have a little history article here. I'm not gonna bother with the video, but they do point out some stuff here. Okay, of course, the big lore is the technicality that ecclesiarchy can't have men under arms, so they have a bunch of women. And, of course, there's a few men in there, because the men are not technically men under arms. They're preachers and carry the weapons for self-defense or something like that. But that's how the Imperium works. And they were a niche choice, because they used to be... They were all metal up until 2019, right when I was first getting back into the game. And I mean all metal. Like, there were no plastic miniatures at all, to my knowledge. There may have been some resin ones, but I'm not too sure. So we had Sister Superior, Amalia Novena. I don't have one of her. As I recall, she was pretty expensive. And she was based on this piece of artwork, which is one of the classic Sisters pieces. I've always liked it a lot because for a long time, bolters were very blocky weapons. They were ridiculously wide and looked like basically a shoebox with a handle and a silly magazine sticking out of it. And this one narrowed it down and made it look more like a functional gun. So I've always liked this this piece of artwork. I don't have this model. I haven't seen it for sale, and I think I did at one point, but it was way too expensive, and I didn't get it because I was too concerned with getting the baseline of an army. Saint Celestine here. Now, she is one of my favorites. I really need to redo my video on my own Sisters models with better pictures and higher quality. So I've painted her in the silver for the Silver Chalice, and mine is technically not Saint Celestine. She's another living saint, because there are other ones out there. There are Crusade rules for them in 9e. I'm not too sure about these other 2 girls here, because these are not the Gemini Superior. But she comes from some classic artwork. And then we have these pieces of classic art. So we have this here, this lady graced the front of the very first Sisters of Battle, the one on the left here. She graced the front of the very first Sisters Codex, all the way back in 2nd edition, which I did have, and I was starting on when I dropped out of 40k for a long period of time. Only thing I owned at that time was a Seraphim Squad, because it was cool. This one is the more of the middle one, kind of a little more anime-esque, but not quite, but the pretty sister. A little bit more than the lady over here with the rocker hair. I do own Canoness Viridian here on the left, because she fills my Power Sword or Blessed Blade with Bolt Gun or Bolt Pistol niche for Canonesses, because you can never have too many Canonesses with the different weapon combos. And of course, my girl over here, Ephrael Stern, who is much newer. I need to find her books somewhere and read them. I need to read those comics and find out what her all the details of her backstory that I don't quite have. At least the particulars of it. I understand her backstory, but not the particulars. But she is, the models I do own, she is one of my favorites. She's very cool. I do wish she originally, I think, was a Seraphim, that she had a jump pack. And she kind of has that look like she's jumping. And Ephrael did, but it is, or Kynagal, her little elf boy toy. But I do think it is cool that she can deep strike and be like an assassin character. She's very cool, and I need to get her on the table more. Because she's one of those ones where her coolness is always outweighed by the fact that she's tricky to use. And then moving down, we have from the 8th edition Codex the cover art here, and we have added in 9th edition. We have Morven Vol, we have the Repentio, which were added 8th edition, and the new plastic models. Now, it mentions here, of course, Paragon Warsuits. We don't see any. Castigator Battle Tags, they didn't show any. They didn't show the Triumph. I don't know why they didn't put the Triumph down here with her, because the Triumph is a very cool model. And one on my long-term list of models to get, but I probably won't be buying one anytime soon. But this is a nice little walk down memory lane. And this is really what the class, the kind of the history. Now, this is really just some fairly blatant, like, hey, look at our models advertising from Games Workshop, but it is kind of nice to just take a look and see how things link back, because one of the unique aspects of the Sisters' history is that they were kind of almost a forgotten army for a long. They were very niche. They had a very limited range, and it was all metal. The second edition codex was really, really limited in terms of what they actually had compared to the 8th and ninth edition ones. And I remember when I got the codex, and I was like, wow, these girls are really cool. But I read through, and I was like, all they have are heavy bolters, multi-meltas, and heavy flamers, and all their light weapons are the light versions. What the heck? Because I was used to Space Marines and Craft Worlds, where you had a full range. And Sisters were more what I would call a limited range army. I should do a video on that, kind of how I classify armies and think about them and analyze them at some point. But that was, they were real limited for that long time, and it's nice to see how they really came back full force. Now, at the moment, Sisters are not doing great. They're suffering. I think the real problem is that their current detachment rule is too weak. It's probably great into Adeptus Mechanicus, and I don't think it's really that good into anything else. I did see where they beat Death Guard in... and I think a Tabletop Titans report. But at the moment, they're going to stay on the shelf for a little bit, because the guy I play against most often is a very, very competitive guy, and I don't intend to just take the Sisters out and get them stopped. But I hope for some improvement soon and get them back up into the high 40s, at least in terms of win rate. Really, when they've been good was when they had Armor of Contempt. And people complained and fussed about that, but really they kind of needed it. They suffered badly without it. That change in the -1 AP really affects them. And I've noticed also they have a certain aspect of, because their units are a little samey, I guess. There's not a whole lot of difference between the units. They're a very cohesive and thematic army. That their builds, also when they're successful, tend to get a little bit repetitive. And the people out there who cover that stuff quickly get annoyed at it's Sisters good stuff, Sisters good stuff. They're doing it to Craft Worlds right now, fussing and bellyaching about the same list all the time. And not that Craft Worlds aren't a little bit overpowered at the moment, but some of the bellyaching about the lists being boring, well, sorry guys, it's not list builders' job to make the lists more interesting for you to write articles about. Anyhow, that's all I have for tonight. Thank you for watching. Once again, really trying to get back on track here. We'll have more content tomorrow, and back to Military Mondays on Monday. I am going to largely eliminate weekend content, though, because it is just too much to do 7 days a week videos. Good luck with your wargaming out there. Please remember to like, subscribe, comment down below, and click the notifications bell for more great content for Wilderness Wargaming. And we will see you back here